Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Florida.
The City of Angels, Tinseltown, Hollywood and Vibe, where the stars are out. Acting. Wait a minute, not those stars. Can I get a G? Yes, as in Puig, Yasiel, who's red hot, or Adrian Gonzalez. Hey, it even works for D. Gordon. Can I get a perfect night for baseball on Late Night with a Fish? The California tour continues for Miami. The Marlins stop here at Dodger Stadium. A 3-game series opens tonight. The Marlins 2 over, the Dodgers 1 over. The Fish took 2 of 3 for the Dodgers last homestand in Miami. So Marlin caps throughout the Dodger blue. Perfect night for baseball here at Dodger Stadium. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz along with Tommy Henn. Normally we sit here and talk about tonight's game and all of the matchups and what's to see in the, I guess, series moving forward. But for the Marlins, a screeching halt came today when they heard that Jose Fernandez, their fine right-handed ace, has a sprained right elbow, had an MRI today, Tommy, and is going back to Miami for further evaluation.
Rich, I think the hope right now for Jose Fernandez, number one, he's 21 years old, so you hope that the youngster heals and it is just a sprain in that elbow. But you look at the numbers, off to a fantastic start. He was the April National League Pitcher of the Month, leading the major leagues in strikeouts and opposing batters hitting below 200. Yes, he'll be missed, so others will have to step up.
Yeah, and for the Marlins, I guess the silver lining is they have depth in their rotation. And there's 4 other guys, with Jacob Turner just rejoining the rotation, who are capable of taking the ball every night and getting a win.
You know, there are guys who have thrown the ball well. Nathan Eovaldi has made big strides with his secondary pitches. Henderson Alvarez kind of off and on. You'd like to see him on a little more consistently. Tom Kohler's been just tremendous. He goes tonight, and it's time for Jacob Turner, I think, to step up too.
And it's Kohler who goes tonight. Now for Kohler, in our Chevron pitching matchup, 8 innings, 2 hits, no runs in the no decision against the Mets. He'd like to translate that to the road.
He sure would, and I think the key to that line is the 95 pitches in the 8 innings. He was tremendous. He was around the strike zone the entire game.
Marlins will face a right-hander who's enjoying a renaissance, and that's Dan Herron, a veteran.
Veteran guy. He's been a durable pitcher over the years. Dan Herron, though, 1-6 in his career against the Marlins.
All right, the stage is set. There's no Jose here in L.A., but the Marlins and the Dodgers are ready to go. Anxious moments when we return to Los Angeles. Dodgers down below. All-star tandem down there. Allison Williams, Preston Wilson.
Thank you very much, Rich. Tough news today for the Marlins. Their all-star Jose Fernandez placed on the 15-day disabled list with an injury to his right elbow, a sprain to that right elbow. It's tough news for the Fish, Preston, because they lose the ace of their rotation and a spark plug in the clubhouse.
When you lose your ace, it's big, but they also lost a guy that everybody likes in that clubhouse. He's so interactive with everyone. He talks to even the fans. He stays after and signs autographs hours after spring training games during the game. He's a big piece to what they do here.
Certainly came as a bit of a surprise today for many around the Marlins organization. Although Jose struggled his last time out in San Diego against the Padres, he said he was okay to reporters, however, reported soreness in that elbow. And while he wasn't his usual self on the mound, it didn't seem like anything was really that wrong.
Nothing mechanically wise, nothing with velocity. Knew his stomach was bothering him a little bit, and he had vomited. But same guy as far as just kind of attacking hitters and throwing everything he's got.
Hopefully that he's, obviously he's not a guy that's fun to face and or easy for anybody. But on the other side of that, you don't want a guy to be hurt. You'd like him to, he's good for our game, and I think we'd all like to see this be a minor thing.
I mean, you never want to see any of your guys go down on the DL, especially, Jose. He's, been a key guy in the starting rotation for us, but I feel like everybody's, gotten so much better this year as opposed to last year.
Well, it's a huge blow to us, so we got to take it for what it is. Understand that's part of the game. It happens sometimes. It's out of our control now, so the best thing we can do is just wait it out, have them get better, and see what the next move will be for us.
Well, this is when you realize that you're a full team. You're not just one guy, so these guys they're going to pull together. They're going to rally behind him and hope for the best of him, but they're still got to go out and do the job. They're going to still get this done.
All right, so the starting rotation looking to step up. First one to try and do that, Tom Kohler on the mound for the Fish. Game one from the City of Angels is next, right here on Fox Sports Florida.
First pitch swinging, Christian Yelich into right field for a base hit. And what a moment, Tommy Hutton, for Christian Yelich. Yelich grew up 40 minutes away, huge Dodger fan, has never played a game in this ballpark. He was here for a tryout, and that's it. And the first pitch he sees here, he laces into right field.
What a great feeling for Christian Yelich, who has, I believe, I don't think he left all the tickets himself, but about 150 friends and family here. Didn't waste any time, and that's the scouting report for Dan Herron. He throws a lot of strikes, so you have to be aggressive.
So, Derek Dietrich, and he takes down low. Dietrich to be followed by Giancarlo Stanton. 1, 2, 3 go the Marlins here to open up in Los Angeles with McGee in the 4 spot. Yelich aboard at first base. Dietrich did not start in yesterday's ball game. The Marlins saw Robbie Erlin, a lefty. Dietrich, for a couple of games in the San Diego series, was on the bench. 1-1 the count. Herron, the 33-year-old who struggled last year with Washington, his ERA over 4.5, and a quick throw. Yelich is back in.
And by the way, Rich, Christian Yelich, with that base hit off Dan Herron, is 4 for 6 in his young career against the 33-year-old veteran.
Yelich is running, swing and a miss, throw down to second. He is safe. Hanley Ramirez with a sweep tag. Yelich calls time. Don Mattingly on the top step, thinking about coming out to start the challenge process.
Straight steal, even though Dietrich swung at the pitch. You always wonder about hit and run, but Yelich never looked over his shoulder.
I think he's in there.
I think the hand was on the bag by the time Hanley got that sweep tag on his forearm.
Yeah, Hanley's glove went to the front of the bag, and Yelich's hand went to the back of the bag. Now the Dodger players are standing on the infield waiting for a challenge. Mattingly never left the dugout, and Mattingly just signaled to his players, hey, come on, guys, play.
Maybe this is a new system the Dodgers are using. Instead of having the manager, in this case Don Mattingly, go out and choose a little small talk with the umpire.
Yelich broke his belt, and he's on his way to the dugout to get a new belt and hope that his drawers stay up.
Well, his belt is fixed. The Giants' belt is still on the DL.
Well, the Giants did quite well without Brandon Belt here this weekend. They took 3 of 4 from the Dodgers, including an extra inning win yesterday.
Yeah, it's always something when the Giants come here to Dodger Stadium and take a series 3 out of 4.
So there was no challenge, a broken belt, a stolen base, and a 1-2 pitch to Dietrich. And Herron, who has an assortment, he's kind of the Whitman sampler of off-speed pitchers. He'll spin it, he'll change it, he'll cut it. He'll throw that fork ball, a split finger, that one over the screen and out of play.
And certainly familiar to this area. Went to the beautiful University of Pepperdine.
Right up the road in Malibu. Yelich resides at second. Dietrich trying to get him over here with the count 2-2. Stanton is on deck. We're just underway in Los Angeles. Dietrich hits a high fly ball left center field. Kemp back there, tagging is Yelich. On his way, here comes the throw, and Yelich is in there.
I love the aggressive way the Marlins have started this game. The base hit, the stolen base, and then tagging on that fly ball.
And here is the lineup. You've met Yelich. You've seen Dietrich. Say hello to Giancarlo Stanton. His career at Dodger Stadium, quite impressive. Casey McGee, Jared Saltalamacchia, Garrett Jones, Marcelo Zuna, Adeiny Echeverria, and Tom Kohler gets the start. Big shift is on. The Dodgers very aggressive, shifting against Stanton in the series in Miami, and Stanton fouls a pitch back to the screen.
You and I talk about it a lot, Rich. We see some teams that shift a lot, some teams that don't do it a whole lot. Stanton's had some success against Dan Herron, too. 4 for 10 with a home run.
As we've seen with Stanton this year, he's rifled a lot of balls to the right of second base, both on the ground and on the line. And he shoots a little ground ball over towards Gonzalez, who flips to Herron. He's safe. Stanton beats it.
Good job by Giancarlo, and again, playing hard. This is something you have to do, especially when you get some bad news before a game.
So the shift was on, didn't matter. Stanton hustling down the line, showing off his wide receiver skills from his days at Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks. And Don Mattingly says, I think we're going to challenge this one. Let's take a look.
There's the flip. It's a good one by Adrian Gonzalez. A little stutter step by Herron.
I think he's out.
Yeah, I think he may have gotten there. My first thought was that maybe Herron missed the bag, but he did not miss the bag, and it looked like his foot got there just ahead of Stanton.
Stanton will still get an RBI, and the Marlins will still be up 1-0.
I think it goes along, regardless of base hit or not, it goes along with Giancarlo producing runs without having to hit balls 450 feet.
Yeah, that one went about 92. But you could see, I mean, Stanton, it looked like, was just trying to shoot a ball to the right side. So as we said, the Dodgers are challenging. Crowd just saw it. They're reacting. We saw it. You saw it. And the umpire group in New York, he is out. Tommy, one of the things in visiting the umpire command center in New York, when I was in there 2 weeks ago, the umpires there, when a call like that happens, a bang-bang call, even before a manager heads out onto the infield, they have already started the review process. If they see a bang-bang call, they look at that call even before a manager decides to challenge or not.
So it didn't take too long, and the call overturned.
Casey McGee in a 1-0 Miami lead. And if you don't think one run is a big deal, for the Marlins it is, especially coming out of San Diego, where the Fish had trouble scoring runs and had trouble making contact. Consistent contact. Breaking ball, and it's fouled at the plate.
Yeah, you saw Mike Redmond over there on the railing. Not a great day for Red, getting the news that he got. But I think you just have to accept it in baseball. Things like that happen. You have to hope, certainly, because Jose's just 21, that he heals. It's nothing too serious. But you know you have a game and you have to move on.
McGee, a cue shot, and Gordon throws him out. But Miami's on the board. Christian Yelich, a base hit, stolen base, scored on a ground ball. Just like that, it's 1-0. Lifetime for that last moment. His first AB at Dodger Stadium. And he gets a base hit and scores a run. Here come the Dodgers. Dee Gordon had a dynamite series against the Marlins. Yasiel Puig is hot right now, an 11-game streak. He's hitting everything. And the Ramirez had a big home run last night to send the game to extra innings. Adrian Gonzalez has cooled a bit. Matt Kemp, Andre Ethier, big day yesterday. Justin Turner's at third. Drew Butera will do the catching, and Dan Herron hits ninth. And here is Gordon, who really has been a force at the top of the lineup for the Dodgers. A .364 on base percentage and a major league leading 24 stolen bases. Incumbent upon Kohler to pitch and pitch well to him.
Without question, to try to keep Gordon off the bases. Terrific numbers for Tom Kohler. He's fourth in the National League with that 1.99 ERA. That was quite a series for Gordon in Miami. He stole 4 bases, but he was caught twice.
He is, of course, the son of Tom Gordon. You see that series 9 for 15. Grew up in the Orlando area. Seminole Community College. He backs off a fastball. The count is 2-1. Dodger draft pick from back in 2008. Really put up nice numbers in the minor leagues, and it's finally starting to translate at the big league level. Bouncer. Dietrich, quick throw, and you can see Dietrich, he wanted to get rid of that ball as fast as he could, and he got it by at least 10 feet.
Well, he kind of got caught in between. He started to charge the ball, and they stayed back on it. But he made the play, and that's what counts.
Miami behind Kohler tonight.
There's a look at the defense. Beautiful place to play defense. Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton in the outfield. McGee, Echeverria, Dietrich, and Jones around the infield. Salta Lamacchia handling Tom Kohler, who in his career, a couple of starts against the Dodgers, 1-1 with a 1.50 ERA. Pitched well against the Dodgers in Miami.
And Kohler now staring at a very hot hitter. Yasiel Puig, a career best 11-game hit streak. 2 more hits yesterday, including a solo homer, and he goes after the first pitch and fouls it back and out of play.
Tom Kohler in the game in Miami against the Dodgers went 7 innings, gave up just 3 hits and no runs.
Puig hit his longest home run as a major leaguer. I'm sure he has hit some longer ones, maybe even in his video that he sent out a few years ago. But he crushed one at Marlins Park.
As we've watched Tom Kohler put together some tremendous starts and a terrific start of this season, what we've seen is command of all of his pitches. And look at that, just 92 pitches in that game against the Dodgers. The slider, the curveball, occasional changeup, and then moving his fastball around.
0-2 to Puig. And the Marlins, and I think every major league team, when they get 2 strikes on Yasiel Puig, especially 0-2, 1-2, it's see if he'll chase.
He's improving. He's getting better on laying off those pitches. We saw that in Miami.
Now the count 2-2. Kohler does not have pinpoint control. I mean, he's not a guy that is on either side of the black. He can be effectively wild and keep some hitters off balance with that. Puig lays off another. It's 3-2.
Well, we've seen him hit a few batters, and at times the opposition thinks it's intentional, but it's just part of his game plan.
Opponents hitting just 177 against him, and Puig takes in. Kohler lost him.
Well, the tough part there is that he was ahead and then just promptly missed on 4 consecutive pitches. I guess we could, you know, that wasn't a bad pitch, but it wasn't at all where the target was, and sometimes that crosses up a home plate umpire.
Jerry Davis is behind home plate. Laz Diaz, Scott Berry, and Jeff Nelson. So Puig, who can steal a bag, is at first And here is Hanley Ramirez. Hanley with a dramatic home run against Sergio Romo to send the game into extra innings yesterday, where Kenley Jansen promptly coughed up the lead to the Giants, the first place San Francisco Giants. Puig is leaning, not running, and Kohler misses down low.
We all know how the Dodgers got off to a poor start last year, and then once Puig came on the scene, got hot, Hanley got back, they took off. Well, last year at this time they were 17-22, so they're actually a little ahead of schedule than last year.
And I think in a strange way, Hanley actually got overshadowed by Puig mania, because Hanley's numbers seem to indicate he had a bigger impact on the Dodgers surge. Without him, they were 41-44. With him, 51-26. And look at the damage in just 86 games. He actually got into the top 10 of MVP voting on just 86 games. Runner goes, late start by Puig, and the throw's going to get him. Dietrich follows him all the way out to shallow center. I'm not sure what was up with Puig, whether he stumbled or if he just started late.
The bottom line, he needs a crash course from Maury Wills. He just got a bad jump, and he has speed, he has athletic ability, but he doesn't have all the baseball skills right now. I mean, he didn't even come close to the bag. And that's one of the frustrating things for Don Mattingly, for his staff, for Dodger fans in watching Puig.
It's one thing we've seen middle infielders do a lot more. The 2-0 pitch is down low. Is exactly what Dietrich did on a play like that with a sweep tag. If you're not sure if you got him, middle infielders are following runners to the back of the base and almost forming a human barricade, because they know the play will get reviewed and watched from all angles. Whereas in years past, an umpire would often give an infielder the benefit of the doubt.
Well, all of a sudden, Tom Kohler's walked more than he did in his last outing against the Mets in 8 innings.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez. It's hard to say the words Adrian Gonzalez and slump in the same sentence. But the Dodger slugger is actually in one right now. I guess it's not that hard to say, but you just don't get to say it very often.
Well, you saw the numbers in Miami in that series, 0 for 11. That's kind of where it started for Adrian Gonzalez.
He has such a sweet swing, it rarely goes haywire on him. But you see what he's done in May. Hanley Ramirez, the runner at first. Now Hanley can run too. Marlin fans know that. He has swiped 3 bases. And the Dodgers are the most aggressive and the most successful in swiping bases. And a lot of that credit goes to the guy standing at first base. Davey Lopes.
Well, we have in the ballpark a couple of former Dodgers who were a terrific base stealer. Davey Lopes, and when the Marlins hit on the third base coach's line, Brett Butler, who spent 6.5 seasons with the Dodgers.
And of course, the Dodgers, dating all the way back to when they arrived here, have a long tradition and history of speed and stealing bases. You talked about Maury Wills. They ran a lot in the 70s when Lopes was there. And Brett Butler. And this team has got speed. We've seen Puig thrown out, but D. Gordon has swiped 24 bags. Kemp can run. Hanley does not have a big lead. There are 2 outs. To center, Ozuna coming in hard and is there and makes the catch. It wasn't clean, but for Tom Kohler, he hangs on to that 1-0 lead. Park at the Clevelander. It's a party. How about that? You can swim in the pool. You can drink at the bar. You might get a Giancarlo Stanton home run. The package includes game ticket, domestic beer and drink specials, just $20 per person, and you can dance like Tommy Hutton. Oh, Tommy Hutton.
I'm working on that move. I'm working on it.
Go to marlins.com/groups today. Jared Saltalamacchia for the Marlins here in Los Angeles. Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna to follow. Saltalamacchia. Fouls it back. He got the day off yesterday with Jeff Mathis getting the start. The Marlins, of course, yesterday kind of stuck in the mud in San Diego until 4 runs in the 8th. Made it interesting, made it close. Got runners on base in the 9th, but couldn't tie the game.
So far, a tough trip for Jared Saltalamacchia, 0 for 11. Too many strikeouts.
First baseman number 46.
Misses that one. Let's give you a little scouting report on Dan Herron. We talked about him. He's got that deceptive hesitation in his delivery, the split finger, the tumbler. He'll throw any time, and he throws lots of strikes.
Here's Garrett Jones.
It's kind of fun, Rich, in between innings, doing a little in between innings research. Brett Butler with 558 career stolen bases. Davey Lopes with 557 career stolen bases.
How about Maury Wills?
Maury Wills 586. We love it when it all comes together.
Jones can't hold up on a 2-0 breaking ball, and that's the epitome of facing Dan Herron. He'll throw any pitch, anytime, anywhere.
Marlins have a few hitters. Jones, one of them, with some success against Herron.
Jones laces one into center field. That's a base hit.
And you know what? Also some success in his career against the Dodgers. Garrett Jones, a .300 career hitter against the Dodgers.
Batting next, center fielder number 13, Marcell Ozuna.
Talked to him a little bit about some of the swings he had. He hit the ball hard against some left-handed pitching in San Diego for outs. He hit some line drive outs, but he was pleased. He wasn't pleased with the outcome, but he was pleased with his approach.
Marcell Ozuna now. Ozuna had the day off yesterday, did come in late in the ball game. Sharp ground ball, backhanded there. Turner out, safe. And so the Dodgers get one, and that'll bring up Adeiny Echeverria.
Shortstop number 3, Adeiny Echeverria.
Tommy, neither you or I are blessed with a real deep voice. Whatever the PA guy has here in Los Angeles, whether it's cheap whiskey, cigars.
I know it's not the water because I grew up out here.
A vocal cord transplant. Eric Smith just has the deep pipes that just reverberate.
And he had a lot of pressure because for many years it was John Ramsey.
Eric Smith, a school teacher by the day. Can you imagine that?
He would command attention in the class, that's for sure.
Attention class. Please make sure your essays are turned in. He also does the PA for the Clippers. Haven't seen them in the news at all lately.
No, not at all.
Echeverria fouls it off.
There he is. He found out someone from Miami called him and told him that we were talking about him.
Either that or they've got great reverb on the PA. Etch right now. 281 hitter. Ozuna the runner at first, and Heron steps off. Echeverria 2 hits yesterday. Swung the bat well. Drove in a run. It's been a nice season for the Marlins young shortstop out of Cuba. Tapper to short. Hanley gets it to first in time, and Heron pitches around. Garrett Jones base hit in Los Angeles, 1-0. Let's go places by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Checkers. Visit your local Checkers for the $2 shrimp and fries box. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. This is Dodger Stadium. This is Late Night with the Fish. This is Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, Allison Williams, Preston Wilson here tonight. The Big Salad. Tom Kohler, whose hair has kind of calmed down in Southern California, and he looks a little more at home in the land of Jeff Spicoli and such.
Well, it's a good look out here on the West Coast.
Matt Kemp comes to the plate. The Dodger outfield is its own little soap opera, and it has been ever since Carl Crawford and Matt Kemp all got healthy at the same time. Tom Kohler delivers. Yasiel Puig has kind of separated himself from the pack. He's in there every game. Andre Ethier was on the bench and not happy about it for a while with Carl Crawford getting hot. Ethier came back and had a big day yesterday. It's like there should be a Dodger outfield app on your iPhone.
Well, it could be entitled "As the Outfield Turns."
Kemp waiting on a 1-1 pitch. Allison Williams, what would you call the soap opera for the Dodger outfield?
The days of our Dodger lives, maybe? I talked to Don Mattingly before the game about juggling the 4 outfielders and often having to choose between Andre Ethier or Carl Crawford out there in left field. said a few things that he looks at, as you would expect, matchups, and then also who's swinging the bat well right now. And I think Ethier made that pretty easy decision today versus other days. You look at his numbers in the last 13 games, he certainly swung a good bat. He had 3 hits yesterday. And then also, if you take a look at his career numbers against Miami, he has an insane 383 batting average against the Marlins with 7 home runs and 33 RBI. So Ethier making that decision easier today.
And Kemp driving one into right field for a base hit. Hey, A-Dub, are you still down there?
Yep.
For the Dodgers left fielder, number 6.
You're down by the Marlins dugout. I know losing a guy like Jose Fernandez is a real shot in the gut, whether it's for a couple weeks or a couple months or however long it takes. What's the mood around the dugout?
It's disappointment. I think you could definitely tell guys were a little bit down today, but everybody that I talked to just mentioned the word team. And this is a team. It's not about one guy or one individual, and they are collectively as a team going to have to get through this together. Guys within the rotation are going to have to step up. Guys within the lineup are going to have to pick things up offensively. Obviously the team not real happy after losing 3 straight in San Diego and feeling like they were just one big hit away from maybe getting a win in the final game there. So a bit down on that front. And then with the loss of Jose, that hurts as well. But I liked the attitude that they showed, and I liked the resolve that they showed in talking to them today.
And I think, too, Rich, I think that somebody will have to step up as far as not a cheerleader type, but enthusiastically in the dugout, because Jose did that. Now, you can't force it if it's not your nature, but somebody will have to give a little extra effort in that area.
Well, the veteran presence certainly helps with Saltalamacchia, McGee, and Jones. We've seen Baker and Johnson added to the mix, do such a nice job. Andre Ethier takes outside. As you heard Allison say, nobody hits the Marlins better in Major League Baseball than Andre Ethier.
Well, you know he hits the Marlins well when Carl Crawford, who's hit 480 since May 3rd, sits this one out tonight.
383. Joey Votto next on the list at 356. Kohler gets a strike. Now Kohler really flirted with trouble in the first, walking Puig and Hanley Ramirez. Puig was thrown out trying to steal second. That helped. Gets a high strike. Ethier chasing a fastball.
Be curious to see if Kemp is on the move on a 3-2 pitch. Kohler still hadn't found too many pitches in the strike zone. He got some help from Ethier on swings.
Kemp's running. 3-2 pitch in the air, left center, not well hit. Yelich is there, and he makes the catch. For those of you that have just watched the Heat take down the Nets 102-96, welcome to Dodger Stadium. Marlins and Dodgers. The news of the day for the Marlins, a real shocker this afternoon when word spread that Jose Fernandez had a sprained right elbow. He was examined here, an MRI here, flew back to Miami, will be examined tomorrow, and the results of the MRI hopefully within a day or two. But for Fernandez and the Marlins, everybody holding their breath right now, hoping that it is a sprain and a slight one, and one that he can rehab without surgery.
I just keep telling myself he's 21. He's a strong young kid, and he's shown us he has pretty good mechanics and a repeatable delivery too.
And whatever type of rehab it is, whether it's without surgery or worst case scenario with it, nobody works harder than Jose Fernandez. We saw that coming through the Marlins system quickly, and then his off-season workouts last year, legendary. Justin Turner swings and misses. In this ball game, the Marlins got a run in the first. Christian Yelich, who grew up 40 minutes from this ballpark, came to Dodger games all the time, saw a lot of big moments at Dodger Stadium. Sean Green was a guy that he really liked.
Some similarities.
Yes. Well, Yelich getting to play his first game here First pitch he saw, he lined to right, he stole second, and he scored on a Stanton ground ball. 0-1 pitch. I guess you could use the word laboring for Tom Kohler right now.
He's laboring. He has a 1-0 lead, so you still say, okay, there's plenty of time to put things back together, get in a little rhythm.
And that's one of the things that the Marlins have really liked about Kohler is walk one, walk a couple, give up a couple hits. Kohler has not folded this year, which for young pitchers happens quite often. Kemp running, pitches up, Salty's throw on a hop, safe. Marlins will check the replay. Mike Redmond hasn't started out yet.
I think it's safe to say that Tom Kohler has that Oral Hershiser bulldog mentality. That was a lot closer than I initially thought, but I think he got in there.
Fourth bag of the season for Kemp. 1-2 to Turner, whom the Marlins have seen a lot of with the Mets. He takes a breaking ball outside. I think with a guy like Turner or Sean Figgins or Miguel Olivo, you can have the largest payroll in the world, and the Dodgers do, at about $260 million, including the money they paid for some of their Cuban players and all. And you still need guys to play certain spots and fill in who aren't superstars who make 18 to 25 million a year. Turner in right field, base hit, late start by Kemp. Stanton has it, and the throw on a hop. Kemp had a huge turn, an aggressive turn, a bigger turn than you would think. And runners at the corners. Drew Butera is coming up. America's new sports network is the place to turn before every slam, every goal, every game with America's pregame, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune into America's pregame weeknights 6 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your cable satellite provider, go to foxsports1.com.
Well, Tom Kohler's going to have to reach back here with a first and third situation and 1 out. Butera's done a nice job. Terrific defensive catcher. The Dodgers are going to have to make a decision in a day or two. A.J. Ellis, their primary catcher, has been on the disabled list, but he's almost ready to come back after some rehab assignments.
Kohler looking for a ground ball. Dodgers looking to tie the game with 1 out in the bottom of the second.
Right now, the Dodgers have been going with Miguel Olivo and Drew Butera.
Drew Butera, son of Sal, former Major League catcher.
Sal had a nice career as a backup catcher at the big league level for quite a few years, and it looks like Drew is going to follow in the footsteps. Both very, very good defenders. Out of Central Florida.
He was born in Don Mattingly's favorite town, Evansville, Indiana. There's a strike. There's Mattingly, also an Evansville native in his 4th year as the skipper of the Dodgers. Of course, steeped in the Yankee history. And were it not for a back injury that cut short his career, might be Hall of Fame worthy if he was able to put in another 4 or 5 years with the type of seasons that he had. A batting title, an MVP.
He had, you're absolutely right, he had some incredible years. It was just not a long enough run because of those back problems.
9 Gold Gloves. 6 All-Star teams. Kohler now with a count 3-1. This is certainly a test of what we talked about for Kohler, getting in a tight spot and not letting it spiral out of control. Three-two. Driven deep left field. Foul. Dodger Stadium for pitchers. When you give up a bolt like that down the line, it can be frightening because the dimensions get tiny down the lines.
Well, the other thing too, you have a power-packed lineup, and you do not want to get hurt by the number 7 hitter Turner, who already has a base hit, and then the number 8 hitter who almost hit a 3-run home.
Turner a singles at first. Butera pops it up. Shallow right. Stanton comes in, tagging his Kemp. Stanton's under it, takes it, and the throw is cut by Jones. Nicely done in the outfield there. Ozuna and Stanton had to decide who was going to take the ball.
Very good communication. Either one of them could have made that catch, and certainly the center fielder has that right. He's the captain out there, but you have the arm, and they both have good arms, but Stanton has a better angle. Because just look at that angle there. If Ozuna makes the catch, he has to come across, throw across his body a little bit. So a good decision, good communication. Kemp wasn't going anywhere once Stanton caught it.
Now Herron. Dodgers still have runners at the corners. Kohler gets a strike.
Tell you what, Dan Herron, not a bad hitter. A .215 career average coming into this year. That's pretty good with a couple of career home runs. So be careful.
Good breaking ball, 0-2.
But not going to hit that good slider.
He's 2 for 14 this year. One and two. This is a 3-game series. Obviously, Jose Fernandez, who was scheduled to pitch in Game 3, out of the rotation for the time being. Right now to be announced for the Marlins on Wednesday. Paul Maholm, the lefty for the Dodgers. Jacob Turner, Josh Beckett tomorrow night.
Our guess is probably Brad Hand or Kevin Slope.
Or it could be both. Into left field, and there's a base hit, and the Dodgers tie it. And you're exactly right, Tommy Hutton.
Well, it hurts when the bottom part of the lineup in this particular lineup hurts you, and the bottom line is that Tom Kohler's still battling with command. Got to a 2-2 count, came with a pretty good pitch for Herron, who has a good swing and helps his own cause and ties the game.
Top of the order now, D. Gordon. And Gordon shoots one just foul. Marlins, in their roster move, placing Jose Fernandez on the 15-day disabled list, recalled Dan Jennings. So Jennings called up from New Orleans. thinking long-term replacement for Jose Fernandez moving forward. The Marlins do have prospects at the AA level.
You know, we've been keeping our eye on Anthony DeSclafani, on Andrew Heaney.
A handful of others. All possibilities moving forward. 0-2.
Brian Flynn, who we saw briefly last year, a left-hander. Justin Nicolino, Adam Conley. There is a list.
Heron has tied the game with a base hit. Turner's at second. 0-2. Gordon a little chopper. Dietrich goes to get it again and flips to get the out. But the Dodgers get that run back. After 2, it's 1-1.
Is driven by the helpful SoCal Honda dealers, and they
One ball game. It's the third in Los Angeles. Marlins and Dodgers. Time for you to tweet your favorite fan photo. Hashtag FLFanPhoto. It's a chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast. And it's brought to you by AT&T. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Now, of course, the news today that Jose Fernandez has a sprained right elbow. Ken Rosenthal of Fox Sports, MLB Network, joins us now. We've been reading your stuff on FoxSports.com. Kenny, what's the latest that you've heard about Jose?
Well, Rich, all signs point to a Tommy John. And I hate saying that, but it sure seems that that is where this is headed. The first indication was when the Marlins said it was a right elbow sprain. A sprain, as opposed to a strain, involves the ligament. And the ligament is what we're talking about here. I heard from a source that he had a second MRI today and that it did not look promising. And then, of course, Juan Rodriguez reported that the Marlins expect that he will need a Tommy John, and I'm hearing exactly the same thing.
Well, thanks for coming on and ruining our day.
Thanks.
Well, guys, the facts are the facts. I can't say he's in great shape here.
Understood, and we appreciate you coming.
I wish I could. I mean, it's a terrible day. Just the idea of this, whether it actually comes to pass or not, to lose another great young arm the way Matt Harvey went down last year, and years ago Francisco Liriano. When these things happen, guys, obviously it's a huge blow to the Marlins first, but it's also a blow to the entire sport.
Now, Ken, MLB Network, you work for them as well as Fox Sports, did a terrific panel show along with Dr. Altchek and Andrews as well, and Tom House. The takeaway from that show, what did you get from that, and moving forward with the question of how do you protect arms from elbow injuries in baseball?
That is the $1 million, $1 trillion, $1 billion question. and no one seems to have an answer. And we talk about all these theories. One theory we've heard lately is that American-born pitchers who have to play in these travel ball leagues and start throwing hard and lots of pitches from a young age, that they're more susceptible. Well, Jose Fernandez wasn't a kid like that.
Yeah, we talked about that. Rich and I talked about that. Growing up in Cuba, he didn't have showcases. He didn't have travel ball. And so he goes against what a lot of others have theorized.
Right, and talking to someone today with another club, he told me that this idea that Americans have a higher incident rate of Tommy John surgery is not true at all, that it's pretty much across the board. So, Rich, when you ask what's the answer, if anyone had an answer, I think we'd be seeing better results by now. My goodness. If Jose needs a Tommy John, he would be the 18th Major League pitcher in this calendar year to undergo that surgery.
Christian Yelich drives one to left field, hits it deep, and gone!
He's back home!
How about that? He dreamed his entire life of playing in this ballpark. He finally gets here, and his first two at-bats, a single to right, a homer to left. Dreams really do come true for Christian Yelich.
Oh, wow. Lots of friends and family. I'm sure Mom is proud. We saw her in San Diego. What a night so far for Yelich.
Guys, that ball was smoked.
Yes.
This is not an easy park to get out of in the nighttime, though it is very warm tonight. That was an impressive opposite field shot right there.
And I think, Ken, for the Marlins moving forward, whether Jose's out for 2 months or for the rest of the year, moving forward, as a guy who has seen a lot of teams in baseball and has seen the Marlins, the improvement from last year to this year is pretty palpable, even without Jose.
No question. And I like what they've done and how far they've come.
Papa, Butera, over, and he can't get it.
And if you want to find a silver lining with the Jose news, if there is one, it's that he's still so young. And that while he would miss the rest of this year if he underwent surgery and a good chunk of next year, he'd be back by the age 23. So obviously that won't help the Marlins in the short term, but it's good news long term. And of course the other arms in the rotation, from Eovaldi, the guy tonight, Kohler, and the arms that are coming, such as Haney, that is all quite promising. I also like what I see from some of the young outfielders.
Dietrich, that's a fair ball.
And even a young infielder.
Young hitters.
Puig has a great arm. Dietrich is in there. And the former shortstop from Georgia Tech slides in with a double.
And to continue the point, guys,
Right fielder,
the other thing that
Giancarlo
they've done a
Stanton.
nice job of, at least in my opinion, Saltalamacchia, McGee, these guys, Jeff Baker's another one, have been around. They're good veterans on a club. They're performing well, and they've been good signs.
Reed Johnson.
Reed Johnson's
Reed.
another one.
Yeah.
And Jeff Mathis is another one. This is the right kind of veterans are on this club. And I know he's been hurt all year. If Furcal ever gets here and can play and is healthy, he'll be helpful as well.
Giancarlo Stanton takes inside from Dan Herron. Through all of it, this guy has been a rock. And the April that he had, night and day from the Aprils that he had as a younger player. Not that he can get a whole lot younger than he is right now, but just missed that one.
Well, in batting practice tonight, I don't get a chance to see the Marlins in person that often.
You were down there, right?
I was down there, and there were some ridiculous things going on with his bat and where the ball was flying. And Casey McGee said to me, it's worth the price of admission every single night. And when he starts hitting singles, I get on him because that's boring. And some of the balls he was hitting here are balls that you don't see hit here ever, such as over the State Farm sign in left field, off the scoreboard in left center, off the speakers in center. That's pretty impressive.
During that display, I was standing next to Ron Say, who's seen a lot of batting practice here at Dodger Stadium, and he was totally impressed.
How can you not be, Tommy? It's just unlike any other player right now in terms of sheer power. Oh, there's a single.
In the center field, base hit. Dietrich around third. Stanton will hold first. He's driven in two, and Miami's on top 3-1. And again, Tommy, he's been driving balls in that lane where teams have shifted away from.
The California kids are coming through, and it's something that Stanton told us way back in spring training, that all of a sudden it clicked that he can drive in runs and be a run producer without having to hit a 450-foot home run.
Well, and that pitch is a great example. Breaking ball down, maybe a little more up than I thought, but he stays with it, goes the other way, and that's the sign of a mature hitter.
Ken Rosenthal is with us. Off the bat, that's ridiculous. Giancarlo Stanton this year has the 4 fastest exit speeds.
That's on a single. 103.
Ground ball, McGee finds right field and a hit. Puig picks it up in right, sort of. Stanton had stopped at second, and Miami has runners at first and second. And McGee, who's had a terrific start with his 25 RBIs.
Hey, Ken, the other thing that Casey McGee said when Stanton was putting on that show, he said, I'm embarrassed hitting in this group that I have to hit in every night with Stanton.
Well, Casey is a mere mortal, and Stanton is this otherworldly figure. It's so much fun to watch him, and it is fun to see, as you said, Rich, how much he has grown as a hitter and how much he can still grow. This guy is going to be one of the elite sluggers in the game, I would imagine, for years to come, and we're just seeing the first glimpses in many respects.
Saltalamacchia. Gonzalez out there. Heron is there to get the throw and get the double play. But the Marlins pick up 2. Back home. Christian Yelich leaves Dodger Stadium.
Of our nation's armed forces by honoring
Shouldn't, but when you come back to California, you got to crush some In-N-Out Burger, and maybe these 2 Cali boys did just that. 3-1, Marlins on top. Marlins Flex Packs. You can take advantage of season ticket prices, flexibility of coming to the ballpark when you want, with as many people as you want. Get 20 ticket vouchers starting at just $13 a game. Pick up your Flex Packs today, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. And you might want to bring Ken Rosenthal. Now, we have a lot of favorite writers, but in fact, you're the guy that always comes on with us, trading deadline. Occasionally during the year, you'll pop in, so we appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you're all dressed up today because you were here to watch the Marlins, and the Jose Fernandez news broke, and you did a nice job of covering that for a variety of outlets. But let's talk about the Dodgers and the Giants, because the Marlins have got the Dodgers here, obviously a 3-game set, and then going to San Francisco. Puig is up now. Kohler with a 2-run lead. What do you see with this Dodger team?
It's a mystery here, and an enigma, and a riddle wrapped inside an enigma, as people have said. This team obviously is talented. They obviously are quite expensive, $235 million, but they lack what the Giants have. And what the Giants have, and I can't define it, you can't measure it, no sabermetrician in this world can quantify it. It's a special character to them. And they've won together. And that was what matters most there, the team. I'm not sure with the Dodgers it's quite the same. There are perhaps more individual agendas. It is a star-driven team with a good number of egos, and it can be difficult. Now, the guy at the plate, Puig, has taken a lot of criticism. He has made tremendous strides in his play, his patience at the plate. D. Gordon, the leadoff hitter, also a huge bright spot for them. So the 1-2 hitters, the young guys, they've been tremendous. Matt Kemp still rounding himself into shape after his surgeries. And then you have Gonzalez, who's always solid. You have the 4 outfielders for 3 spots. You have a defense that has made more errors than any team in the National League. It just isn't a team that has gelled together. Now they might, and we saw what they did last season when they got it going. But so far, not happening.
You can appreciate Don Mattingly telling us before the game that he looks at it as a sense of urgency right now. He's not saying, okay, last year everything fell into place. He's looking at each game, each series.
He's right. And granted, you can go 42-8 again. They did it once before. But if the players are expecting that to happen, they're mistaken, because that was maybe a once in a 25-year stretch kind of run. So they do need to show more urgency. They've got their starting pitching whole again. Kershaw is back, and I expect them to play better, but I'm not sure that they are going to be better than the Giants.
Was it the Arizona fight? Was it the arrival of Puig and Ramirez? What was it that spurred them to all of a sudden go on that run last year?
It was all of that, Rich. And certainly Puig got a lot of the attention, and well-deserved, but Hanley was fantastic. And I wrote a story, must have been in June or so, about Hanley, saying that it looks like he finally has gotten it. Finally is prioritizing winning over everything else. And I talked to a number of veterans who were on the team then. Schumacher, Punto, Hairston, guys like that.
Stan has plenty of room.
And they reinforced what I was seeing. And I wrote it basically saying this better be the last time I ever write that this is the new Hanley, because I had written it 3 or 4 times before. But I do believe that, and he was a huge part of that run. There's no question about that. And the fight, yes, it did galvanize them, but I'm not suggesting that they have another fight.
Now, the team that was just here is kind of the antithesis of what you just described with the Dodgers. They have less portfolios and maybe a little more grit, although I know some what was the word you used?
Sabermetricians.
Thank you.
They don't like grit very much.
Those guys don't like grit.
But you know what? It exists. You know that. Tommy, you know that.
How much does Bruce Bochy have to do with
Bruce
that?
Bochy has a lot to do with it. Brian Sabian, the general manager, has a lot to do with it. You look at their bullpen. So many teams struggle to put together bullpens. For a lot of teams, it's a mystery with no end. The Giants find guys on minor league contracts. Sergio Romo was a 28th round pick. Javier Lopez came from 2 guys that didn't last very long. They do this every single year. And then their core players are guys like Posey, Sandoval, who is struggling but is still a really good player. The pitchers, they brought in Hudson, they brought in Morse. Those have been terrific additions for them. They seem to have it going, and even with the loss of Brandon Bell, I was talking with one Dodger tonight, and he said, guess what? They won't miss a beat, because that's who they are. And I just love the way they're playing. Obviously, there's a long way to go. Injuries can happen. All kinds of other issues can arise. But if I had to pick a team to beat in this league right now, it would be the Giants.
Let's stick in the National League. Surprise team to you, either plus or minus?
It's a tie for me between Colorado and Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I was tempted to pick as my surprise team because I like their rotation and I like their front 9. But I chickened out. And they're going to be fine, but they need to stay healthy because they're not that deep. And you saw Braun go out. Now Aramis Ramirez is out. And it's a problem for them when they lose premium guys. Colorado, as opposed to Milwaukee, I like them every year. I fall in love with them in spring training. I watch them hit. Here we go. And of course, disregard their pitching. But I do see this Colorado team as a more legitimate team than in the past.
Hanley's tapper finds Echeverria's glove. 2 outs for the Marlins, up 3-1 here. Visiting with Ken Rosenthal of FoxSports.com.
So they have an MVP if Tulowitzki stays healthy.
Right, and obviously Tulowitzki and Gonzalez both need to stay healthy, Tommy. We know that. but they are deeper than they've been. They have 4 or 5 outfielders who are very good players. They have pitching that is still questionable, but right now they've got Brett Anderson and Chatwood on the DL, probably coming back in June. They've got a number of pitchers in the minors that they can turn to and feel good about, including 2 of the top pitching prospects in the game, Eddie Butler and Jonathan Gray. The bullpen is always going to be a problem. Pitching in general is always going to be a problem, but they are not a fluke. They are not simply a home monster. They're a good club, and we'll see if they can keep it going this year.
2 outs, 1-0 the count to Adrian Gonzalez. We may have you for 10 more seconds. What's the next tweak in the replay protocol that you see coming? Base hit, Gonzalez. You can take your time on the answer now.
I would say with the collision rule, something is going to change, but not during the season. Obviously, they needed to address the transfer rule immediately, and they did, to baseball's credit. The collision rule is more complex. I did a story talking to Tony La Russa just a couple of weeks ago now, in which he said he wants the runner to have a clear lane from the time he rounds third. That this idea of blocking the plate and then leaving it at the end, no. The runner has to have that lane. And eventually we may get there. And eventually we may get to where a runner is required to slide and the catcher is required to leave a lane, as opposed to now where it is a little too ambiguous, quite frankly, and it causes some issues. Though I must say, guys, last week or two, we haven't had much controversy about the collision rule at all.
Well, the Marlins have had 2 games decided by replay that went their favor, and they ended up winning the ball game, and they were 2 key calls late in games.
So now, when you have correct calls in that fashion, deciding games, I can't see how anyone would have a problem with that. And I know that replay was designed only to correct the egregious mistakes, but the idea is to get the calls right. It's the 21st century here. We've got all this technology, and it was about time that baseball started using it. So I'm all for it. I like it. I know the delays on the field are a little bit annoying, and maybe next year they can address that somehow. But overall, Tommy, I would say it's been a pretty big success.
I think so. I think if you talk to fans, I think most fans that I've talked to, I'm sure that you've talked to, are in favor of most of the replays.
One thing I've heard from fans, they absolutely love it that now in ballpark they put the replays up on the scoreboard and the fans get to play along here in the ballpark.
That is really neat, and it happened here tonight.
Yes.
With that call, and they had the replays going on the board, and in the effort to have greater transparency, you have to have that. And the fans in the park should not have less access to video than fans sitting at home. That's the idea. So that has been a welcome development as well.
It's funny, sometimes you catch even the umpires looking up at the scoreboard. They're not the ones ruling on the replay. The umpires in New York are, but even the guys here want to see if they got it right. Kemp swings through a 3-1 pitch, full count.
Rich, I got to get this in on Tom Kohler. So many pitches. Look at the number of pitches, and it's not even through the 3rd inning. Keep in mind, Wednesday the Marlins will have to probably piggyback Slowey and Brad Hand, and if you have to go to a long man in this one, it's going to be tough for Mike Redmond to make a decision.
3-2 coming. Gonzalez on the move, and it's outside, and that pitch count will go even higher now. As Kohler brings up Marlin killer extraordinaire Andre Ethier.
A lot of 3-ball counts. 3rd walk for Tom Kohler, and he does not have a strikeout tonight.
We can't have Ken Rosenthal on without asking him, are you still doing the bow tie charities? And if so, when's the next time we will spot you, and what charity are you representing?
Well, yes, I do them every week on the Fox broadcast, and people ask me all the time, why don't you wear them all the time? And just for the Fox broadcast.
It's got to be special.
Tommy, I kind of like the regular tie.
Got to be special. You look good in the regular tie tonight.
Yeah, you don't want to look like Tucker Carlson, all right?
Here's a little secret for people out there, okay? I'm not the tallest person in the world. Everyone on Twitter seems to be aware of this. A necktie gives me a little bit more length.
Gives you some length.
At least in my mind. But anyway, we do it every week. I'm not sure what we're doing this week yet. Last week was Pavlov, which is a children's cancer fund. And we are choosing more charities all the time to partner with. This is the Bowtie Cause, an outfit out of Cincinnati, run by Dhani Jones, the former NFL player. And they do some great things. And frankly, I hated wearing them at first. Fox made me wear them at first. But once we got the charitable element in place, it became not just nice to do, but an honor.
Well, Fox made Tommy and I wear ties too, but we got to like it, and so now we're following Preston Wilson's lead. We've added the tie bars. We've got pocket squares. We're the best dressed announcers in baseball.
Preston Wilson has made us step up our game.
Preston Wilson is a dapper individual. He's a good man.
Right now, Tom Kohler is trying to get out of this inning and hang on to this 3-1 lead. Ethier waits, 0-2 pitch. Slammed off of Saltalamacchia. Count stays 0-2.
Yeah, it has been a struggle and a battle for Tom Kohler out there tonight.
Stony Brook University, 18th round pick. It's been a struggle and a battle for Kohler. Climbing through the Marlins minor league system, getting into the rotation. Ethier in the air, left field. Yelich is there. It is always a pleasure when Ken Rosenthal stops by. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kenny.
It was good. Thanks.
Good to see you.
And we'll look for you on Saturday in the bow tie, and we'll visit with you later on in the year.
That's good, Rich. Thank you.
FoxSports.com, Ken Rosenthal, the best in the business.
Here's the question. On average.
With the fish. Thanks again to Ken Rosenthal. What a great resource, and what a terrific talent. Always enjoy having him on. Rocking the Marlin caps here as Garrett Jones pops one into the seats at Dodger Stadium. The renovations of Dodger Stadium continuing.
A lot of changes. We saw some coming in off the team bus down the right field line. May stop by the Tommy Lasorda Trattoria for some spaghetti.
Herron misses inside. Now, is he a greeter? Is he the maitre d'?
I have no idea.
Does he write the menu?
It's another place for Tommy to get a free meal.
I saw Tommy Lasorda in the dining room, the Vince Scully room. They have a special dining room for Vince Scully and Jaime Haring, who oftentimes are besieged by autograph seekers and guys like you and me. And so they have a special room for them to eat off the beaten track. Herron gets a ground ball out, and he's got an out here in the fourth. Marcell Ozuna's coming up.
Ozuna got that big hit yesterday to start things. The rally fell short, but he got the pinch hit base hit off Houston Street to start things in the 9th inning against the Padres.
And at the time, it was obviously a tough loss to take. Marlins dropped 3 of 4. But for the ball club to get up off the canvas and go down swinging with 4 runs in the 8th. And Tommy, remember, in the 9th, the Marlins had base runners and an opportunity in the 9th to tie the game before Jeff Baker bounced into a fielder's choice. And they've continued that here tonight. Miami has 3 runs on 6 hits.
You know, I think it started with the leadoff single of Christian Yelich, his steal of second, his advancing to third on the fly ball. Just some aggressive baseball, and after all the news today, that was good to see.
Ozuna, high fly ball. Kemp is at the track, and he makes the catch. This copyright telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
No marine layer, by the way, here tonight. There are a lot of night games at Dodger Stadium where the ball doesn't carry. You heard Ken Rosenthal make mention of the heat. Santa Ana winds. Temperatures will be in the mid-90s, possibly touching 100 on Wednesday.
How often does that happen here as a Southern California guy yourself?
Once a year, maybe.
Good time to be in L.A. if you're a hitter. Echeverria bounces to Gonzalez, who steps on the bag. A 9-pitch 4th inning for Dan Herron.
Presented by State Farm. Get to a better state. I'm here with Carla. We are going to be testing her music knowledge. Girl, we are going to play you.
Right now, 3-1, bottom 4. We check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Doug.
Hey there, Rich. It was a year ago, almost to the day, that Tom Kohler came out of the bullpen and earned his starting job in the rotation for the Marlins. And it was right here at Dodger Stadium that took place a year ago yesterday on Mother's Day. He got his first start of 2013, only the second start of his entire career. And in that game, he went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits, 2 runs, walked 1, and struck out 1 in a game. The Marlins lost 5-3, but it began a journey for Kohler that saw him solidify himself as a starter in the big leagues. He had to earn a spot out of spring training again this year, but has been a key cog in the rotation for the Marlins. And he said coming back to Dodger Stadium a year later, being a part of the Marlins starting rotation, it felt like it all just kind of came full circle for Kohler.
Well, he's made the most of an opportunity. Tommy, what an odd start, though. I mean, here he is, 75 pitches in. And that's after just 3 innings of work.
He needs right now a low pitch inning. He has an opportunity, but remember the bottom part of the order hurt him back in the 2nd inning. It's amazing listening to Allison with that report about going back full circle for Tom Kohler, how he he had to earn a spot in spring training. Remember, in spring training, it was Brad Hand, Tom Kohler, who was going to be the number 5 starter. He won that spot. He comes into this game, opposing batters hitting 177 against him. The 4th best ERA in the National League.
Justin Turner, Drew Butera, Dan Herron. In the 4th, 3-1, Miami on top. If you're just happening by, maybe you watch the Heat game tonight. The Heat beating the Nets, a 3-1 lead, I believe, in the series now.
That is correct.
LeBron had 49 in the ball game.
He eased off toward the end.
This is Late Night with the Fish from Dodger Stadium on a day where the Marlins found out that Jose Fernandez has, at the very least, a sprained right elbow. Reports are that in all probability requires surgery. Nothing has been officially announced. We should know by tomorrow. The Marlins have come out here against the Dodgers and had a big night from Christian Yelich. A single stolen base, a run, and then a home run in the 3rd. Giancarlo Stanton has driven in 2 runs. The California kids,
the Cali kids,
are enjoying Dodger Stadium. 1-2 coming.
Boy, another 3-ball count. Rich. 6 3-ball counts so far.
High fastball roped into right center. Ozuna's there, and he makes a running catch. Turner's hit it hard twice. And Drew Butera comes up.
Drew Butera.
To contrast that, Dan Herron, in his 4 innings of work, is at 54 pitches.
Well, we told you at the very beginning in our scouting report, too, on Dan Herron, he throws strikes. He's in the strike zone with all of his pitches. But the Marlins have had good aggressive swings against him.
Pitch. A strike. Again, your look in this ballpark is not a true center look, so it's off center. Marlins Park, many of the parks that the Marlins play in the East, Atlanta, for instance, have a true center look. It's a little easier to tell in and out.
Which is an appropriate term here in California.
And he's gone 3-1. And to your point, Tommy, this is the area that really has haunted Kohler in runs. He gave up the run to this part of the order in the 2nd, and in pitch count.
Well, the tough part, and going back to what I said last inning, the tough part for Mike Redmond is, all right, how do I piece this game together, knowing that he's going to have to use a Slowey or Hand to start the game Wednesday, more than likely. That hasn't been made official.
Remember, he had a short start yesterday with Henderson Alvarez. Slowey worked 2. Rodriguez and Ramos worked 1. And he walks.
He just cannot find a release point.
Drew Butera. The release point for the Fox Sports Florida fan bus is usually Marlins Park. Tommy Hutton, VIP seating for up to 50. Email groups@marlins.com or go 305-480-2523 for more information on how you and your friends can travel in style to see the Fish play at Marlins Park.
We're trying to throw a strike to Herron, who's trying to give him an out. And that one wasn't even close. Frustrating for a pitcher when he's in that situation and just can't find it, hit the field.
Herron drops down a bunt, but it rolls foul. Herron spent last year with the Washington Nationals, and I've seen some reports today that Greg Dobbs has signed a minor league deal with the Nationals organization. So we wish the Dobber good luck. Jerry Davis calls strike 2. Well, they say you want to stay away from stressful innings. Kohler has had 2 whoppers, a 32-pitch second inning, a 26-pitch third inning. And a 17-pitch inning already here. With 2 outs.
Second baseman, number 9, D. Gordon.
Aaron striking out. And here's Gordon.
You know, you look back, and certainly it's on our minds tonight, but you look back at Tom Kohler's career coming up in the organization. Go back to 2010. We've talked about that 16-2 season in Double-A. Threw close to 160 innings, came back 150 innings in New Orleans. Backed that up, 151 innings, and then 13 in the big leagues the next year. So he stayed relatively healthy.
Gordon now, he's twice bounced to Dietrich. Not a full schedule in baseball tonight on a Monday night. We talk about the Nationals. They're actually in Arizona, so they're out west as well. And so are the Braves. They're in San Francisco, 1-1. Atlanta and the Giants. 5-4, Arizona on top of Washington in the 7th. Braves-Giants game is in the 6th.
We were talking earlier, Rich, about D. Gordon and his 24 stolen bases. 24 steals through 39 games. Maury Wills, the last Dodger to have 24 steals through his team's first 39 games, and he went on that year to steal 94.
Two-1 is in. Gordon actually has done some damage from the leadoff spot as well. His slugging percentage is over 400 with 7 doubles, 3 triples. He walks. And now Kohler has to face Puig. Miami's bullpen is starting to stir.
You know, and you can only pull a Houdini so many times. He's been able to wriggle in and out of a few jams, giving up just the 1 run. But when you go through the bottom third of the order, and then a leadoff guy who probably is not going to hurt you with the long ball and walk a couple of those, and then you have to deal with Puig with 2 outs. That's tough.
And to your point, the second inning, which was a 32-pitch inning, involved the bottom third of the order. And this inning, which has pushed his pitch count close to 100, this will be his 23rd pitch. He's cut through the bottom third of the order as well. Gordon and Butera aboard. Puig has walked and flied out. And he crushes one. Left center field. And deep. And gone.
And that's exactly what happens.
Yasiel Puig extends his hit streak, a career high 12 games, and a lot of carnage along the way. His 7th homer of the season.
Hanging, breaking pitch, and see you later. But when you walk a career 180 hitter, Drew Butera, when you walk D. Gordon, that's tough to do. this road trip so far, the best start of the group has been Jacob Turner. And you look back at the losses in San Diego, the Marlins just couldn't get good starts out of their starters.
And the Ramirez now. There's the 2-0. Out of play. You could almost see it coming.
Yeah, you could. You really could.
Without the command and with Puig up. Hanley hits a ground ball into center field, the base hit. Finally Ramirez with a 2-out hit.
Dodgers first baseman number 23,
For Ramirez, a 1 for 2 nights. Mike Redmond reluctantly out on the top step and on his way out. Pitcher spot for the Marlins is due to lead off in the 5th. But that's as much rope, I think, as Mike Redmond is going to give him, and he has pointed to the bullpen. He'll take the ball. For Tom Kohler, a struggle tonight. And he lost that struggle when Yasiel Puig went out with a 3-run shot. Fourth, Yasiel Puig with a 3-run homer. Kohler throws 103 pitches in 3 2/3 innings. Dan Jennings on the mound. If you're wondering why Dan Jennings is here, it's because the Marlins placing Jose Fernandez on the 15-day disabled list, right elbow sprain. There are reports that in all probability he'll require surgery. That's not been confirmed. Jennings coming up from New Orleans and thrust into a role now where the Marlins are hopeful to get more than just 1 inning out of him.
DJ had a couple of appearances in New Orleans, 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs. You saw his numbers while he was with the Marlins, and the numbers really weren't the reason he was sent back. It was just a necessity at the time. I think we all knew sooner or later he would be back. We didn't think it would be under these conditions, though.
Gonzalez takes a breaking ball for a strike. What's left is Hanley Ramirez at first and Adrian Gonzalez 1 for 2 at the plate. Matt Kemp is on deck. 4 runs, 6 hits for the Dodgers. 3 runs on 6 hits for Miami. 0-2.
You talked about it at the beginning of the game for Adrian Gonzalez. After his first at bat, the fly ball out, he was 3 for his last 37. Got base hit last time up, but mired in a pretty good slump.
Counts 1-2. Jennings, the University of Nebraska product. Ozuna pushed to the track. And he makes the catch. But the Dodgers jump on top, and they do it with a huge home run from Yasiel Puig. Pembroke Pines. Visit Lexus of Pembroke Pines. The Florida Department of Transportation reminding you to drive sober and get pulled over. And by South Florida Volkswagen dealers, save thousands during Volkswagen's first really big sale. Yasiel Puig, the Tom Kohler breaking ball, hit it way up in the bleachers in left center field.
Well, a short appearance for Dan Jennings because Donovan Solano with the pinch hit appearance means that Mike Redmond will have to go to that bullpen again.
Solano, Christian Yelich, Derek Dietrich. Misses outside. It's 3-0. H-Rod, Henry Rodriguez in Miami's bullpen.
You know, it hasn't been the sharpest of Dan Herron's either. The guy who usually is all around the strike zone. Now, he hasn't walked anybody, but he's left a lot of pitches out over the plate, very hittable.
Which is the unfortunate part about the 3-run homer by Puig. Solano lifts one in the air to right, and Puig Makes the catch. One out. Here comes Yelich. If you're just joining us, Christian Yelich grew up in Los Angeles. He grew up a Dodger fan. Came to a lot of games here. Never played in this ballpark in any sort of high school all-star game or anything of that sort. He did come here as part of a pre-draft tryout. So he got to step on the field and play his first game here, and he's gone 2 for 2, a home run, a single, a stolen base, and he scored twice. If you can't play on this field as a Dodger, I'm sure he envisioned himself as a Dodger in his backyard, mimicking Sean Green's swing. The next best thing is to walk in here and do some damage.
A little different swings. They have similar builds, tall and slender.
How fast was Green?
He ran well. He had good speed. I think where Christian Yelich fools a lot of guys, he has deceptive speed. I think I would take Yelich in a race, though.
Especially now that Green's in his 40s. Kemp is there, and he makes the catch.
That sounds like something Yogi Berra would say, and you know what? It's Yogi's birthday today. I believe 89.
Second baseman, number 32, Derek Dietrich.
Here's Dietrich. He doubled his last time up, and he scored on the Stanton single. Giancarlo has driven in 2. He's now got 42 on the season. Dietrich in the air. Kemp surrounds it and makes the catch. Marlins have to dip into their bullpen again as we go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-3 Dodgers.
All right, Dodger fans, it's time.
I think Los Angeles is where Late Night with the Fish theme music was originally written back in the late 60s or early 70s. 4-3, Dodgers on top. It is late night with the Fish. Thanks for staying up tonight, kids. Dodger Stadium, where the Marlins on a short start by Tom Kohler, 103 pitches in 3 2/3 innings, bring out their second reliever, and it's Henry Rodriguez.
Rodriguez had an inning in the ball game yesterday down at Petco. Had a strikeout, a walk, but other than that, nothing across the plate. Those are his season numbers at AAA. And you can see where he gets in trouble. You can see all the strikeouts, but you can see the walks. But there's no question Henry Rodriguez has outstanding stuff.
Things can happen quickly in baseball, and just a few days ago, Henry Rodriguez and Dan Jennings were teammates in New Orleans. And here tonight, they're pitching back-to-back in a ball game at Dodger Stadium. And it's not a soft landing here for Rodriguez. Matt Kemp, Andre Ethier right out of the chute. Justin Turner slotted third here in the 5th. Kemp a single, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. Rodriguez throws hard. Everybody knows that. He's done it in a variety of stops in the big leagues.
You look, and this is why he is so enticing as a pitcher. You look at his body type, and Henry Rodriguez is not a big, tall guy. He's very compact. So you would think because of the compactness of his body, the delivery would be there, and he would have more success throwing strikes consistently. But that's never been the case.
To contrast his delivery with that of Carlos Marmol, which is
completely different.
Arms and elbows and falling off the mound. Very, very different. Out of Venezuela, 6 feet, 219 pounds.
Well, in that 4th inning, the walks really came back to bite Tom Kohler because 2 of the walks scored on the Puig home run.
Wow. 95 up and in. Fans don't like it, but I suspect that the Dodgers and Kemp have faced Henry Rodriguez enough to know that.
Yeah, and they know. I mean, Kemp knows he can't say anything or glare. It was a 3-2 pitch. He just can't throw the ball over the plate. But yeah, fans don't sometimes realize all that.
Left fielder, number 16.
It might keep some of the other Dodgers from digging in, though.
So what you're saying is if you're going to walk someone, you might as well dust them off.
You know, there's your shot.
Here's Ethier now.
Here's one you know you're not going to get a warning on or anything like that.
That's for Garrett Jones. That's never easy too. Anytime you've got a guy on the mound who blows in the high 90s, when he turns to throw a pickoff throw to first,
and you're also not sure if it's going to be right there either.
Runner goes, big jump.
Well, as we pointed out, in San Diego, he's also always been susceptible for stolen bases. Not even close, so Saltalamacchia just held on.
Kemp has a couple stolen bases in the ball game. Rodriguez drops in a breaking ball for a strike. Opponents this year have stolen 32 bases and been caught 9 times against Miami. Into right, softly hit, and Kemp read it well. Dodgers stretch the lead 5-3.
Well, there's that guy, Andre Ethier. You talked about it early on. Over 180 career at-bats against the Marlins and a 380-plus batting average. No play at all for Stanton because of the read and the jump of Kemp. So another walk comes in to score.
Justin Turner has hit the ball hard twice. He's fouled it back there. He singled in the second. He lined out to center field in the fourth. Braves and Giants still 1-1. Atlanta at 21-15. Sitting atop the East. Marlins are 2 back. Runner goes. Saltalamacchia is throwing a hop. Great catch and tag by Dietrich. And Ethier is out.
Boy, that's a great pick by Derek Dietrich. Ethier takes a peek. He knows it's going to be close. There's the pick and the tag well before Ethier got to the bag. Good job of hanging on, too, by Derek.
So Saltalamacchia has thrown out 2 of 4 base stealers tonight. Chivalry is there to make the catch. Tommy Hutton All-Star voting has begun. And so all of you out there, I want you to rise up, open up your windows, and yell, vote early and often at Marlins.com for your favorite Marlins, for your favorite big leaguers. Vote the maximum 25 times, and you'll get 4 Marlin tickets for just $20.
Get Giancarlo in that starting lineup.
The All-Star game on Fox on July 15th. Get him in the starting lineup, get him in the home run derby.
Yeah.
Butera takes down low.
Because to be honest, for Stanton to be in the home run derby, it's not going to hurt his swing because every time he takes batting practice before a game, I mean, he'll have his rounds where he shoots a few balls the other way, but then he goes deep a number of times.
Rodriguez falls behind Butera. 2-0. Butera walked in the fourth. Number 8 hitter for the Dodgers. In that Braves-Giants game, good pitching matchup. Tim Lincecum, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. B.J. Upton, a home run. Gavin Floyd getting the start for Atlanta, 6 innings, 1 run. Tyler Colvin, who just came up. Remember what Ken Rosenthal said, the Giants won't miss a beat without Brandon Belt? Colvin at first base is homer. And the Marlins can't get Drew Butera out tonight. Yelich all the way to the wall to get it, and Butera is on for the 2nd straight time. And that area has really hurt Miami. It hurt Kohler, and that is the bottom third of the lineup. Turner, Butera, and Herron, who had an RBI single his first time up.
I don't think Dan Herron is going to be digging in a lot and having strong rips against Henry Rodriguez. So it looks like the Marlins will probably see Hudson and Lincecum in that series.
And while Miami is facing the Dodgers, whose bullpen has been shaky of late, when they get to San Francisco, they will see, ERA-wise, at least last I checked yesterday, the best bullpen in baseball. The Padres were second in terms of ERA going into yesterday. At the plate. Butera at second. Rodriguez misses away, and it was out. 2-2. This has been far from a clean inning for Henry Rodriguez. His 22nd pitch.
Just goes to show at this level, even if you throw 96, 98 miles an hour, you still have to have command. And it's the thing, you can get away with that in the minor leagues, and Rodriguez has, but when he's gotten to this level, his ERA is usually up there.
Hey, the Mets beat the Yankees in a homer fest. The Mets hit 4 homers.
Was that at Yankee Stadium?
And Curtis Granderson homered, the former Yankee.
He was happy to be back there.
9-7 the final. Brett Gardner had an early grand slam. The Mets have won their 5th straight Subway Series game, going back to last year. Chris Young, Travis d'Arnaud, and E.Y. Jr. all homer.
The Marlins in this game, Rich, have had at least 2 3-ball counts in all 5 innings. And have walked guys they shouldn't walk.
Butera walked in the 4th, along with Gordon. That was before the Puig 3-run homer. And here, after Butera singles, Dan Herron, the pitcher, walks. And Chuck Hernandez is out to talk to Henry Rodriguez. It's a demon that he has struggled with throughout his major league career, and that is control.
And you get to a point in a guy's career, it's not going to change. I mean, you can get a young pitcher, 22, 23, and maybe make some changes, but things have been the same for Rodriguez his entire career.
D. Gordon now.
But the best choice for the Marlins to tap into, to bring up here, was Henry Rodriguez.
Brad Hand is getting loose. Kevin Slowey worked 2 innings yesterday and is probably lined up to start Wednesday. Now he's 2-0 on D. Gordon. D. Gordon has homered once. Tonight he's 0 for 2. It's 3-0, and Mike Redmond may have to go get Brad Hand sooner than he wants. You've got Puig on deck. You probably wouldn't bring the lefty in to face Puig.
No, you would definitely keep Rodriguez in to pitch to Puig.
But obviously, he's got to start throwing strikes. And here comes Puig. Well, one thing's for sure, on a night like tonight, Hall of Famer, legendary broadcaster Vince Scully has had plenty of time to tell the story of Tom Kohler, Dan Jennings, and Henry Rodriguez.
He's probably told a couple of stories about Mike Redmond.
In case you missed it, this was the pitch that sunk Tom Kohler. And Rodriguez misses the Puig.
Between Tom Kohler and Henry Rodriguez, 8 walks have been issued.
31 pitches for Rodriguez here in the 5th. 3 walks, 2 hits.
Rich Kohler threw 103 in his 3 2/3 innings.
Just for accounting purposes, Butera at 3rd, Aaron at 2nd, and Gordon at 1st. Got to balance the books, Tom.
Got to balance the books.
Here's a 2-0, and that's down low.
My opinion, a big leaguer should be able to throw strikes. Bottom line.
They wouldn't turn Puig loose 3-0, would they?
Sure.
That would be the 4th walk issued in the inning. Hanley Ramirez is coming up. Brad Hand, a lefty, is ready. And Mike Redmond has had enough.
Looks like Red's going to make a double switch because he needs to have Hand give him a few innings in this one. He needs a hand from Brad. Looks like Ed Lucas is coming in the game.
We'll sort out the changes when we return. Dodgers lead is stretched to 6-3. 6-3, Dodgers on top. 2 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. Ed Lucas is in the game, and Lucas is now at second base. Lucas in a double switch comes in. Brad Hand out of the bullpen.
Yeah, this is imperative for Brad Hand to, and he may have to stay out there and suck one up, even if he doesn't have his best stuff. But it's really important for him at this point to give the ball club some innings.
And then Ramirez digs in. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. And Hand misses. It's 1-0. 5 grand slams in Hanley Ramirez's career. What a day for Mike Redmond. At 3:30, he had to announce to the media that the Marlins had placed Jose Fernandez on the 15-day disabled list with a sprained elbow, knowing that that's an injury that oftentimes is a precursor for Tommy John surgery. And then here tonight, his ball club jumped out to a 3-1 lead, only to see his starter Tom Kohler falter, and now his bullpen really scuffle. Hanley swings at a ball down in the dirt, and McGee will get it and get the out. After all that, it was only 2 runs. Brad Hand finishes the 5th.
One lucky Bank of America MasterCard cardholder has been surprised with upgraded tickets to the Up next, second baseman number.
Marlins and Dodgers, Dodger Stadium, which has been a tough night for the Fish. Tommy Hutton, Allison Williams, and Preston Wilson. The injury to Jose Fernandez. And then a 3-1 lead disappears with Tom Kohler unable to command his fastball and getting knocked around and knocked out by Yasiel Puig. Henry Rodriguez coming in, failing to get through an inning, walking 4. Meanwhile, Dan Herron is sitting comfortably at 67 pitches and facing Giancarlo Stanton. Miami down 3. Stanton rifles one into center field. That's going to go all the way to the wall. It gets by Kemp. Stanton cruises into second with a double. He hits balls like that you assume a center fielder will get.
Third baseman number 9, Casey McGee.
And even Kemp and Ethier are kind of looking at each other and talking this one over. And it's hit so hard it gets right to the wall.
Yeah, you think this is okay. This is a line drive single into left center. And all of a sudden, because it's hit so hard, it shoots right on by Kemp and Ethier. They had no chance. That's how hard Giancarlo hits the ball.
Here's Casey McGee.
And a pitcher, Dan Herron, he's just thankful that Stanton didn't elevate that ball, or would have been in the seats.
Here's McGee, a ground ball in the hole at short. Hanley Ramirez backhands. And his throw is just in time at first base. All right, bat speed. Stanton was, I think, 104 miles an hour. Oh, wow. 111 miles an hour on that.
Pretty soon that whole graphic of bat speed is just going to have Stanton's name on it.
So that's going to put him, remember the ball he hit in San Diego was 112.8 or 0.9, which was the 4th fastest off the bat, and he has the other top 3. So he may have the top 5 now with that one. I might just want to call that thing the Stanton meter. Saltalamacchia takes in. With the shift on, Gordon out there in shallow right. Throws out Saltalamacchia. Stanton now occupies third, and Garrett Jones comes up for his third at bat.
First baseman, Garrett Jones.
Giants putting some distance between themselves and the Braves, 4-1. So 2 good ball clubs. San Francisco 10 over at 24-14, and Atlanta 6 over. 4-1 in the 8th. Tyler Colvin's having a big night. Homer, triple, 3 RBIs. Colvin's actually in left field. Mike Morse is at first base.
Yeah, that'll open up some more games for Morse there. Posey will play some first base. And the way Morse has swung the bat, he came into that game 266, but he's been productive. Our guy Hunter Pence, 0 for 4.
Hunter Pence, who opened his own baseball academy in the offseason.
I wonder if he has the kids working on that on-deck swing, that practice swing.
I say that in jest. There is actually a great video, YouTube it, and he does. He teaches them all the Hunter Pence moves. Jones is out. Herron is cruising, and the Marlins are down 6-3 in Los Angeles. up 6-3. Dodgers on top of the Marlins. Marlins are home against the Phillies. You can dive in with the Popeyes ticket offer. Purchase a chicken combo meal at any participating Popeyes location. Bring your receipt to Marlins Park. And on Tuesday, May 20th, you'll get 2 home run porch tickets to see the Marlins take on the Phillies at 7:10. Meathead.
Meathead, a big Dodger fan. We see him just about every trip out here.
We haven't really started to look around to see who's here tonight, but Rob Reiner, a big baseball fan, as there are many celebrities here in Los Angeles. Adrian Gonzalez takes a fastball up. In your day as a Dodger, who were the A-listers that came to watch ball games?
Angie Dickinson was one of the A-listers. Doris Day.
They're the two that I think of most with that late night with the Fish music. The rifleman, Chuck Connors, who was a major league player himself. Breaking ball from Hand misses in. It's 2-1.
I don't think they had the term back in Chuck Connors' day. But he was, you could classify him as one of those 4A players. He was a terrific AAA player. Never really got a big opportunity in the major leagues, but chose the right career path in Hollywood.
Known as the Rifleman. 3-1. It's out. Gonzalez trots down to first.
10th walk of the night issued by Marlins pitchers.
Matt Kemp. Busy night for Kemp. On base all 3 times. Single, 2 walks, 2 stolen bases. Scored a couple runs. And 2.
I'm just thinking, Rich, interesting seeing the Giants in the 8th inning lead 4-1. A lot of times a team, after a big series such as the one they had here, winning 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers, you know, sometimes you go back home, you have a little bit of a letdown, but Bruce Bochy isn't going to let that happen. Plus he got a good start out of Lincecum. That helps.
Plus it's an even numbered year, and the Giants won the World Series in 2010, 2012, and they're often racing early this year, a chance to go 11 over if they can hold that 4-1 lead.
Did you see where our good friend Mark Burley won his 7th game? He's 7-1 with the Blue Jays. Toronto beat the Angels 7-3.
Time of game 2 hours and 45 minutes.
That's a little long for Burley.
Well, his team was busy scoring runs.
They had 9 hits.
He couldn't speed that up.
Well, you know what? He had an unusual start for him. In his 6 innings, he gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, but he walked 5. So that's not a Burley-esque type game. Burley-esque.
I don't even want to touch it. It is late night. There's a lot of ways we could go with that. The Marlins no longer have the Mermaids, Tom. So source material is lacking if I wanted to follow that path. Here's an 0-2 from Brad Hand. Outside corner, good pitch by Hand. Kemp goes down. The second inning of relief for Hand. Henry Rodriguez 2/3. 4. Dan Jennings a third of an inning. Tom Cole 3 2/3. 5 walks by Kohler, and of course he gave up the 3-run homer to Puig.
Nice comeback back by Brad Hand to make some good pitches and paint that outer part of the plate to get a tough hitter in Matt Kemp.
Eighth year tonight. RBI single, has flied out twice. We haven't seen, I mean, we saw Rob Reiner, but many of the traditional Dodger fans that are here every night and you see on television or when you come to the game here at Dodger Stadium, we haven't seen yet tonight. Mary Hart is usually behind home plate. Pat Sajak often behind home plate. John Lovitz, I think, had a dispute with the
I think he had a season ticket issue.
Yes, I haven't seen him in a while. But then again, a lot of people had disputes with Frank McCourt in that ownership group. Long out there from Ethier, Justin Turner is back.
Yeah, a lot of people had disputes with John Lovitz's comedic career too, and his acting career.
We had him in the tees tonight, huh?
I know. He's making a comeback.
On a night of balls and strikes, mostly balls as far as the Marlins pitching is concerned, Justin Turner is the only Dodger not to have a 3-ball count.
He's been aggressive. 86 games with the Mets last year. Guy can play many different positions. See where in Aroldis Chapman's return yesterday he struck out the side to get his save.
Good for him.
Only fitting, yes.
Good for him after a horrific injury in which he had to undergo a painful surgery. The incision, they essentially cut the top of the scalp and then peel back the skin and then do the surgery and then staple everything back up. Some of the pictures that he tweeted were just gruesome of the post-surgery staples and stitches in his head. Turner out of Cal State Fullerton, national champions when he was there. And he just keeps hitting it hard. He's got 2 hits in the ball game tonight. Drives it into right field.
Well, a lot of times we see Juan Uribe at third base. Uribe, a little tweak in his hamstring. He did some drills today. Possible pinch hitter if needed tonight, and maybe in a day or two get back in the lineup.
Now Butera, who has popped out, walked, and singled. Oakland is winning again, 5-1 over the White Sox in the bottom of the 8th. And another downright nasty start from Jesse Chavez.
Yeah, there's another team that just continues to put pieces together. You know, put together, number one, a good rotation, bullpen, and then other pieces that aren't big names. A lot of them aren't high priced.
Chavez has gone 8 innings, 4 hits, and a run, with an ERA sitting at 2.26. Josh Donaldson having another nice year, 8th home run, a 2-run shot. With a home run in the top of the 9th. And that followed a Danny Espinosa homer in the top of the 9th. And Washington rallies from 1 down to win on the road against Arizona. Six to 5, the final. The Nationals win.
Well, with Bryce Harper out, guys like Franson getting a few more opportunities. Tyler Moore getting some chances. Nationals, I saw they had to put Adam Roach on the disabled list. So all of a sudden, those guys will really factor in. The Roach hitting over 300, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs with a quad strain.
Braves are losing 4-1 in San Francisco, bottom 8.
Go ahead, Rich, say it. Another 3-2 count. And it's that kind of night for a pitching coach. Very, very frustrating for Chuck.
And with runners first and second, 2 outs. Drew Butera. And a swing and a miss. Hand gets the strikeout and ends the 6th to the 7th. Still 6-3.
It's time for the United Healthcare text to win question of the game answer. Please direct your attention to Dodger Vision for the answer to tonight's question. And remember,
walks and the pitching changes for the Marlins. Dan Herron, who gave up 3 early runs, is sitting pretty right now, and a chance to stretch his record to 5-1.
Number 13, Marcell Ozuna.
Pretty clean line. And notice no walks on the ledger for Herron.
Well, it's the kind of outing that a guy who's a true veteran, which is what Dan Herron is, has been able to do a lot in his career. He's won 133 games as a major leaguer. The interesting note, he's 1-6 in his career coming into this game against the Marlins, but 9 years he's had over 30 starts, 7 years over 200 innings. He doesn't come cheap, but he's pretty steady.
He came for $10 million.
Okay.
And you talked about innings. There's a strike to Ozuna. You talked about innings. If Herron reaches 180 innings pitched this year, he gets $10 million for next year. So there you go.
Like I said.
Ozuna, Echeverria, Lucas. That one is hit hard and into the seats.
Look out down there. I mean, thinking about that, that's probably more than John Lovitz gets for a movie.
Well, you're really hard on John Lovitz. Why don't you pick on Jane Seymour?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't pick on Jane Seymour.
That was one of our goals going into this series, is trying to get Jane Seymour up in the booth. We had to settle for Ken Rosenthal. But we got 2 more nights, and we'll do the best that we can.
Unfortunately, the Marlins aren't playing a day game. She comes to a lot of day games.
With those really cool hats. Herron misses out. Little by little, as you come back to this ballpark every year, you see the improvements that they've made in different areas of the park. High fly ball. Gordon out. Kemp is in. Kemp calls. Kemp catches. And there's one out. Over the course of the last few years, a $100 million renovation
number 3,
to this grand ballpark. Clubhouses on the Dodgers side were done a couple of years ago. The visitors clubhouse was just redone on the Marlins side. Very nice, new, big, spacious. You talked about Tommy Lasorda's, what is it again? A trattoria?
Yeah. Trattoria, trattoria.
Trattoria.
Potato.
It's Italian. So,
it's Italian.
And it's messy, but it tastes great. They've got new gift stores. So a lot of cool stuff popping up here at Dodger Stadium. And one of the things you like when you wander around this building, it kind of kept the 60s, 70s motif. You know, think Disney World or Disneyland, Tomorrowland back in the 70s and 80s. Wow, look out for that big guy. Opened this ballpark in 1962. Third oldest in Major League Baseball. 53rd year.
That's amazing when you think about it. The only 2 ballparks older, Wrigley Field and Fenway.
I saw a program this offseason on the construction of Dodger Stadium. There's Chris Perez. They essentially had to cut out this big area out of some hills. Chavez Ravine. Liner to right. Puig makes the catch. Echeverria lines out there. 2 outs. comes Ed Lucas, his first at bat.
Second baseman, number 59.
And you know, back then it
Ed
didn't
Lucas.
come without controversy. There were many homes in this area.
What's the park beyond left field? Is it Elysian Park?
Elysian Park. You go up a little higher. There's the police academy. That would be a gigantic Stanton blast to hit one to the police academy. Stanton could hit one toward Leslie Nielsen.
That one of the great movies filmed here. Naked Gun. Dan Herron just keeps on keeping on. He's through 7.
Fans stand up for the Coca-Cola 7th-inning stretch. Sing along as Nancy B takes me out to the ball game.
As promised earlier in the game, the AT&T fan photo of the game, hashtag FL fan photo. And there it is. Tommy. Looks like a Clevelander shot. Nice work, Scott.
Yeah, good job. Well done.
Elysian Park, we were talking about that here in Los Angeles, and the name to me rang a bell. Elysian Fields had something to do with in baseball history, and my suspicions were correct. It's the site of the first organized baseball game in Hoboken, New Jersey. Has a strong claim to be the birthplace of baseball in 1845. A guy that threw as hard as Carter Capps, playing for the Knickerbocker Club of New York City.
And at that time, it wasn't 60 feet 6 inches, the home plate either, so he really threw hard.
Could you imagine? They took on a team led by Alexander Cartwright, the New York Nine.
Boy, the outfield is certainly, with the way Capps throws, not expecting Figgins to pull a ball shallow and well around into left center.
And Sean Figgins shoots one over Echeverria in front of Yelich. And the Marlins had him played exactly like you'd want to have him played. And he hit it where you thought he might hit it.
Second baseman number 9.
Well, for Figgins, it's only his third base hit. He's 3 for 17 now. 3 for 12 coming off the bench as a pinch hitter, but just found the right spot.
Here's D. Gordon. He's walked twice. He's bounced out twice.
Talking about players going on the disabled list. We were talking about Adam LaRoche. I saw the Yankees placed CC Sabathia on the DL with a knee issue.
Caps delivers a fastball for a strike, 97 miles an hour. We had Ken Rosenthal on the telecast earlier in the night. And Ken has confirmed earlier reports on FoxSports.com that all signs point to Jose Fernandez needing Tommy John surgery.
You know, it's one of those things you hear the initial diagnosis and you hope for the best.
Team has yet to confirm the reports. Rosenthal quoting a source that said that Fernandez has had a second MRI and the results are not promising.
And by the time Marlins Live comes on tomorrow, we should have a full report.
Well, here tonight, Miami busted out of the gates with a 3-1 lead. Tom Kohler never really was in control of this game. He walked a couple in the first inning, gave up 3 hits in the second, had 2 base runners in the third, and then finally fell apart in the fourth. On the Puig 3-run homer. That one sliced Ozuna in and over and makes the catch. Gordon is out.
To kind of put things in comparison, Kohler, we mentioned 103 pitches in his 3 2/3. Dan Herron in 7 innings threw 92 pitches. But Herron didn't walk anybody. Had a couple of strikeouts.
Puig is driven in 4. Remember, he walked to the bases loaded in the 5th. That was the walk fest of an inning for Henry Rodriguez. 2/3 of an inning, 4 walks. Gave up a couple runs. Caps against Puig.
Yeah, Puig on the year now with 29 RBIs.
Now, I know that at times this game has lulled many to sleep with the high pitch counts and the long innings worked by Kohler, Rodriguez, and Hand. But here you've got a real interesting matchup. A guy that throws 100 and Puig who can hit it 500 feet. And on cue, Carter Capps throws 100.
But we've seen him do that numerous times since he's joined the ball club.
.99.
Now, would he get upset if a pitcher blew him away with a fastball and then just kind of can't flip the bat because you don't have a bat out there.
He could flip the glove.
Flip the glove up a little bit because I mean he does that.
No, how about toss the
glove? He got Bumgarner upset the other day. Puig did. So it's a give and take thing.
Figgins runs and he swipes the bag. The ball hits him in the back. It is, though. You know, you talk to people around not only the Dodgers but also around the National League. Puig is dialing it down. Many felt Bumgarner overreacted.
I actually thought Bumgarner overreacted. That's his flip. I mean, think of what Sammy Sosa used to do. Sammy Sosa come out of the box, a couple of skips, halfway up the line.
I see nothing wrong with what he did there. I mean, that's a bat flip, pointed, and up the line he went. I mean, if I could hit the ball 450 feet,
I would do a little of that too.
I would too.
Good move by Caps because Figgins was dancing around out there at second. See, I'm coming around on that with some of the stylish things, which have to be consistent with it too.
There are plenty of pitchers, mostly closers, that celebrate after a strikeout or a save.
Sure.
Broken bat, one hopper. Lucas goes to first in time. I'm waiting for the closer that kind of combines all the moves. Sort of the untuck the shirt like Soriano, shoot the arrow like Rodney, cross the arms like Brian Wilson.
Get them all. Just throw them all out there. Well, this fastball just ties up Puig, shatters his bat. And because of that, Figgins had to hold at second. He looked back because part of that bat he thought may have caught a piece of Saltalamacchia.
And the Ramirez is 1 for 3. I think Kenny Powers combines all of those attributes as a closer.
It's helped his career, I think, too.
He and Rojo Johnson still banging around the Mexican League.
Still trying to catch a break. We're talking about Jorge Cantu the other night. I think
that's right.
May have run into Rojo Johnson.
No, I got a tweet.
That's right, he's in Korea.
From Jorge, who said that he's in Korea with the, I believe, the Doosan Bears.
Yeah, I think Meziga is trying to get base hits off Rojo Johnson. Because I think Rojo was offered a contract in Korea, but just wasn't a fan of Asian food.
Well, I think he couldn't travel internationally after the charges of illegal reptile shipping.
Yeah, Mexico was about as far as he could go.
This is probably about as far as we can go. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A swing and a miss by Hanley Ramirez.
We held it together pretty good, though.
You know, how many walks is it now? 10 walks?
10.
In 3 hours. And it's been a rough night for Marlin pitching. It's been a rough day for Marlin fans with the news of Jose Fernandez. And then tonight to see Tom Kohler and Henry Rodriguez struggle. Brad Hand didn't give up a run. But it took him a while to navigate the 6th. The pitch missed in.
I mentioned this before, and you just have to admire the job that Jared Saltalamacchia does with pitchers who aren't around the plate, pitchers who aren't holding runners, getting huge jumps, all the 3-ball counts, blocking pitches in the dirt. Not an easy night for him.
Two. It's out of play. By the way, just to bring it full circle, Alfredo Amezaga is currently with the Tigres de Quintana Roo of the Mexican League. Or so it says.
Always one of our favorites.
$37,187 at Dodger Stadium tonight, opening up a 3-game series. Marlins and Dodgers. A rough night for the Marlins with the elbow injury to Jose Fernandez, and the Dodgers leading the Marlins 6-3. Carter Capps finishes the inning. He strikes out Hanley Ramirez to the 8th. 6-3 Los Angeles.
All right, Dodger fans, you know what time it is. It's time for the Hat Shuffle game presented by New Era. This is Angel. We are
You know, Rich, things early on looked promising. A base hit by Christian Yelich. He came in to score on this close call at first base. Dodgers were able to come back and tie it on an RBI single off the bat of Dan Herron, but things got more promising. Christian Yelich returning home, Southern California. Home run in the left center, and the Marlins had a 3-1 lead, but boy, it was a race in a hurry. Walks did Tom Kohler in, and so did a 3-run jack off the bat of Yasiel Puig. In the meantime, Dan Herron gave Don Mattingly 7 solid innings.
And here is Brian Wilson. When the Marlins saw Brian Wilson in Miami, things were not going well for the bearded one.
You can see the ERA. He's had some rough outings. In watching him in Miami, you saw certainly a loss in velocity. And his success last year, when he came to the Dodgers, was built around pinpoint control. He still didn't have the velocity, but he was throwing low 90s, but moving the ball around really well. And he didn't have that in Miami.
For accuracy's sake, we had reported earlier on reports that are out there on major news sites that Jose Fernandez had had a second MRI. Mike Hill of the Marlins just confirmed that he has had only one. So there's just one MRI, the one he had today in Los Angeles.
What he was doing, Jose was going to Miami just to get another opinion from the Marlins team doctor.
Yelich, pitcher spot, and Stanton. Just off the outside part. Do you know that Brian Wilson's hair is actually kind of reddish orange?
I did not.
I learned that from a very reputable source.
So lots of Just for Men.
Or really black hair dye.
This is where the Dodgers have had issues in their bullpen compared to, and again, referring to Ken Rosenthal when he was up here with us, we were talking about the Giants, compared to what Bruce Bochy has put together in his bullpen.
Reed Johnson. Reed Johnson, left field, down the line, and deep, and gone. Two-run shot. New ball game. 6-5 Los Angeles. Miami is within a run, and Reed Johnson's wonderful season continues. The Southern California native with a two-run shot.
How much does Reed Johnson just keep growing on you? He's 37. He has energy. It's his sixth pinch hit. He's 6 for 14 now as a pinch hitter. His batting average overall in the 330s now with that, and he jumped all over a hanging slider from Brian Wilson.
Yeah, the Marlins are a swing away from tying this ball game up. Here is Stanton. Stanton has hit the ball hard tonight, 2 for 3. And Wilson says the heck with a slider. He's thrown 2 fastballs at 94 miles an hour to Stanton. J.P. Howell trying to get loose in a hurry. High pop, right center. Puig and Kemp. And it's Kemp who makes the catch.
Boy, Reed Johnson's first home run of the year has made things exciting here.
Third baseman, Casey McGee.
What a good example he is in that dugout, too, with some of the young players especially.
You can follow the Marlins with MLB.com. At bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Marlins.com for details. So Wilson, who signed a rather lucrative deal with the Dodgers to come back after the season you talked about, has found tough sledding here in 2014. And on a night where we've talked about Tommy John surgery, 2 Tommy John surgeries for Wilson.
And still that last pitch, 95.
McGee towards the line. Puig is over, and he makes the catch. But the Marlins draw closer. Lee Johnson with a 2-run homer. You've got Saltalamacchia. You saw Howell in the bullpen.
Attention, please. Catcher, number 39, Jared Saltalamacchia.
And the Dodgers are going to let Wilson pitch to Saltalamacchia. Let Saltalamacchia hit from this side of the plate.
They'll put the big shift on.
Ah, wait a minute. That was too good to be true.
Now they're going to have to reshift.
Here comes Don Mattingly, and he is going to make a pitch change. I was surprised that the Dodgers would let Wilson stay in, and it was warranted because Mattingly was just taking his time, giving Howell an extra couple warm-up tosses. Wilson exits. It's a 1-run game in Los Angeles. Eighth inning, 6-5. Dodgers on top. Our Geico quote, 3:30 this afternoon. Mike Redmond addressed the media on Jose Fernandez.
Well, I think you're always concerned when you start talking about elbows, and that's just something we have to wait to find out. But I think we're always concerned about that with pitchers, especially these days.
J.P. Howell now against Jared Saltalamacchia. And Howell turns over a changeup.
Got that good changeup. The other reason Mattingly makes this move is that Saltalamacchia with 6 home runs this year, but all from the left side.
Saltalamacchia last year hit 14 homers, a dozen from the left side of the plate. Counts 1-2. Toyota Trend. J.P. Howell, Brad Ziegler, and Kelly Jansen on the West and all working a lot. They lead the list in the National League in appearances. One, two. Chris Perez up for the second time. Lefty on deck and Garrett Jones, but obviously Miami could pinch hit with a right-handed bat. Struck him out. Big breaking ball. So Flamapia goes down. Reed Johnson goes deep. And the Marlins are within a run. Lead over the Marlins, bottom 8 here in Los Angeles. AT&T U-verse rewind. Jacob Turner gets the ball tomorrow. For Turner, of all the starters that the Marlins have, it's been Turner who pitched the best on this road trip. 6 innings, 5 hits, a run. A Miami's 3-1 win in San Diego. He did not get a decision against the Padres. That was Giancarlo Stanton's 11th inning home run. Turner against former Marlin Josh Beckett. That's tomorrow. Late night with a fish. 9:30 for Marlins Live. Allison Williams, Preston Wilson, soaking in some Southern California sun. Hot day here in LA. It's supposed to be hot again tomorrow. Here tonight, the Marlins have hit 2 home runs. Christian Yelich, his 4th. Reed Johnson, a pinch hit 2-run homer to make it a 1-run game here in the bottom of the 8th.
Reed Johnson, Rich, career home run number 64. Let's look at Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Yeah, Reed had a couple of years with Toronto. He had 12 home runs one year. That's his season high. He had 10 a couple of years. But boy, he jumped on that first pitch hanger from Brian Wilson.
This game has such an odd feel to it. It does not feel like a 1-run game.
It feels as if the Marlins should be losing by about 8 runs. And you look up at the scoreboard and they're right in this thing.
Part of that is because Marlin pitchers have walked 10 Dodgers. Dodger pitchers have walked 1 Marlin. And don't go anywhere because this guy is not automatic. Henley Jansen struggled yesterday.
Yeah, he gave up 3 runs in a third of an inning.
I mean, at 1:25 in the morning, where would you be going anyways?
Exactly. Maybe to get 1 more beverage.
Do it quickly. Mike Doug Bends one outside. The big blows by the Dodgers. The Yasiel Puig for sure. The 3-run homer that knocked Tom Kohler essentially out of the ball game. Puig also walked with the bases loaded in the 5th against Henry Rodriguez. And then you go down the order. Dan Herron's RBI single in the 2nd was big. Andre Ethier with an RBI hit. Two and two. This the only game going in Major League Baseball. Everything on the coast is done. Giants beat the Braves 4-2. Seattle clobbered Tampa Bay 12-5.
That was certainly enough for King Felix.
Oakland held on barely to beat the White Sox 5-4. Jesse Chavez is now 3-1 as he gets the win. We talked about Washington's comeback in the 9th against Arizona. Kevin Franzen, a game-winning homer after Danny Espinosa tied the game in the 9th. Alson Williams getting ready for Marlins Live. Preston Wilson there. Preston smartly with the inside position in case something comes their way.
Ready to move. Good position. And A-Dub has quick feet, too.
2-2. Gonzalez in the gap. Yelich is there. Let's go down below Alson Williams with Preston Wilson.
Guys, lots coming up here on our Checkers Marlins Live post-game show. Of course, we will have the latest on Jose Fernandez. Also, recap this one. A tough start here tonight for Tom Kohler.
Yeah, he just really couldn't find the strike zone as much as he wanted to. 100-something pitches, over 50 balls. That's really not a good ratio. So it got started going slowly. Too many pitches. Rough night for him.
We'll also have Clubhouse reaction. We'll hear from manager Mike Redmond and more. We'll get you set for Game 2 tomorrow night from LA right here on our Checkers Marlins Live postgame as Late Night with the Fish continues. They got to stay up, right, Preston?
We're here. Let's go.
Guys.
We'll be here as well. Here's Matt Kemp. Mike Dunn throws a strike for Miami in the 9th. Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna, Danny Echeverria, and then Ed Lucas are the scheduled hitters.
That pitch there, Rich, for the Marlins, their 200th pitch of the night. Bingo.
Echeverria on a hop, kept running hard, and he's thrown out. So there are 2 outs. Here comes Ethier. Texas shut out Houston 4-0. Of note in that game, Houston didn't score a run, and they had 11 hits. And left 12 on base. Good friend Jose Altuve, though, had 3 hits, Tommy. He's just 2 points shy of 300, hitting at 298.
Yeah, you always root for Altuve.
To right, Stanton has room. The Marlins in Los Angeles are down a run and headed to the 9th against struggling closer Kenley Jansen. Garrett Jones will lead it off. when we get back. Run game, 6-5 Dodgers on top in the ninth in Los Angeles. Kenley Jansen allowed 3 runs yesterday. It's the first time he's allowed 3 in a game in this ballpark since 2011. That was, of course, against the Giants in extra innings. And Jansen arrives here. Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna, and Adeiny Hechavarria are scheduled.
Well, what the hitters can expect, fastballs, cutters, and he's been throwing a lot of cutters, and something, maybe that's why the velocity's down a little bit with Kenley Jansen. He'll throw a slider, but he's given up more hits than innings pitched, but still 30 strikeouts in his 17 2/3 innings.
Jansen walked 2, gave up 3 hits and the 3 runs against the Giants yesterday. Jones leads it off. Big shift. You can see Turner right behind second. Dodgers leave Hanley Ramirez at the shortstop spot. Jansen, the former catcher out of Curacao. Netherlands Antilles, and he was a member of that 2009 Netherlands team that stunned the Dominican Republic twice in the World Baseball Classic.
Didn't he throw out Hanley Ramirez?
He did.
In an attempted steal when he was catching.
From his knees.
Yeah.
He had just an incredible arm behind the plate. Jones. Count even now, 2-2.
That cut fastball ran inside. He throws mostly that pitch, and he's trying to keep it up to Garrett Jones. The pitch was a little bit out of the zone.
The count runs full. Jansen, the third out of the Dodger bullpen. Brian Wilson, J.P. Howell, and now Jansen. We saw Perez get heated up twice.
And if Jones should reach, there's really nobody to pinch run, because remember Donovan Solano, because of the shortness of the game for Tom Kohler, had to pinch hit early in the game. It's a good safety swing. Just fouled off a pretty good pitch. Borderline.
Remember, the Marlins had some late inning heroics against the Dodgers in the series beginning of this month in Miami. And the Dodgers did as well. Remember, Yasiel Puig in the Dodgers in 11 innings beat the Marlins 9-7. The Marlins came back the next day and had a walk-off hit from Jeff Baker in the bottom of the ninth to win it 5-4. Jones busts his bat. Two Dodgers converge, and it's Gordon who makes the catch.
And the cutter just got in on it.
So Jansen has an out. Here's Ozuna.
Center fielder, number 13, Marcell Ozuna.
Ozuna swings and misses. Certainly has the power to ride one out of here. Six home runs, but at the same time, with Jansen and his control issues yesterday, you'd like to be selective.
With Jansen and all those cutters, it's certainly not the Mariano Rivera type cutter, but many times right-handed hitters had more success against Mariano than lefties because he would just jam that cutter, busting in at the last minute, jam left-handed hitters.
Kind of a quick pitch there. Jansen misses away. Watch this. There's nobody on base. So we kind of free-formed his delivery. 2-2. In the air, shallow right. And it's going to bring Puig in. And the Marlins are down to their last out. It's Echeverria.
For the Marlins, shortstop number 3, Adeiny Echeverria.
A lot of the 37,000 have gone home. Those that are here coming to their feet. To Echeverria. 0 for 3 in the ball game.
Well, we saw Reed Johnson hit his first home run of the year. Echeverria looking for his.
Jansen, the 0-2 to Echeverria. Got him. And the Dodgers win it on a rough day and night for the Marlins. Dan Herron will get the win Tom Kohler will get the loss, and Randy Newman will have the last word.
6-5, the Dodgers winning.